to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Was planning on taking the day off today, but of course, big news came out for the New York Giants as they have made a roster move. And, pending the, him passing the COVID testing and the physical, Ross Cockrell will be a New York Giant. And we're going to get into Ross Cockrell in this video. Of course, he's a former New York Giant in 2017, so he's familiar with the club. He actually played pretty well here with the New York Giants in 2017. It's why he got a 2-year contract from the Carolina Panthers for $6.6 million over 2 years, in which he played with the Carolina Panthers, and we'll get into all the familiarity. But this was a move that needed to be done. And, we've talked about Logan Ryan. Cockrell's probably even, he's a pretty good fit. He could play on the outside, and it's going to allow you to keep Darnay Holmes where he's meant to be kept, and, to keep Julian Love where you were planning to play him at the start of the season if Cockrell could win that starting job. Now, he didn't win it yet, but he was starting last year with the Panthers alongside the cornerback that's currently on the New York Giants, James Bradberry. So the New York Giants adopt the Carolina Panthers' two corners, but I will say he did a pretty good job there, and I think the Giants did a good job bringing him in, and hopefully he passes everything tomorrow, and he will be a New York Giant. We needed depth there. I talked about that as soon as the news came out about Sam Beal opting out. Before we even heard the advanced news on Deandre Baker, I was assuming that there was a good possibility that Baker wouldn't start the year or play at all, and it certainly seems to look more and more like that will be the case, which is why I think the Giants went out there and brought in Cockrell. I don't think that they wanted to rely on Corey Ballantyne, a former 6th-round pick who struggled last year, or Darnay Holmes, who, like I said, they drafted to be a nickel corner. If Cockrell could get the job done, that allows Love to stay where he is, where he was playing last year, and allows Darnay Holmes to play where you were projecting him to start when you drafted him for this year's football team. So I think it's good that they bring in Cockrell, and hopefully he can get the job done. And to be honest with you, he can't be much worse than what Deandre Baker was last year. Yes, we all have very high hopes for Baker, myself included, going into this season. We thought he'd fit the system better and that he would mature in year 2. But I do think Cockrell could be a nice pickup by the New York Giants. I've seen Big Blue and Biased talk about him numerous times, and that was his favorite guy to bring in, so I want to credit him. And we're going to get into some of the advanced statistics for what is attractive about bringing Cockrell to the New York Giants. But let's jump into all the facts. The first thing I wanted to pull up for you guys was this from Art Stapleton. Always does a great job on Twitter. Wanted to shout him out. I'm told the New York Giants plan to sign cornerback Ross Cockrell provided he clears camp entry COVID-19 testing, per source. Cockrell visited today, so there's at least one veteran corner set to come on aboard after Deandre Baker was formally charged, plus Sam Beal opted out. So there may be more. The Giants still have a lot of cap space. They have $21 million in space. We'll see how much this move costs them. There's no word on the financials with it, but I think he is a guy that could at least compete and certainly add depth to that secondary for the New York Giants. And like I said, the familiarity with James Bradberry, they played together last year, could only help. Next thing, wanted to pull up his numbers. He's still relatively young. He's going to be 29 this year. Like I said, he played for the Giants at 2017 when he was 26 years old. He played in all 16 games. Last year, he made 11 starts. He played in 14 games, and he only gave up 1 touchdown the entire season with the Carolina Panthers. We're going to get into all the advanced stats right here. Found this on an article on GMN HQ. Cockrell went on to bounce back strong in 2019 with the Panthers, allowing a quarterback rating of just 68.6 on balls thrown his way and a completion percentage of just 55%. On the season as a whole, Cockrell actually picked off more passes, too, than he allowed touchdowns, only 1. And then it went on to say, again, at this stage in free agency, they talked about how Cockrell could be a really good fit for the New York Giants. And turns out that he is. And then I also wanted to pull up this. The veteran played in all 16 games for Big Blue. This is in 2017 and racked up 50 tackles, 3 interceptions, 11 passes defended. Cockrell earned an impressive 74.1 coverage grade and a 71.1 overall grade from PFF in 2017 with the New York Giants. And last year he was just as impressive with the Panthers. And now the Giants bring him in. He's a veteran corner. He's played a lot in the NFL, and it's something that I think we needed, especially with this defense, a defense that intends to blitz as much as I think Patrick Graham does. I think you need solid corners. Now, whether or not Cockrell could be an above-average corner, that remains to be seen, but I think he could at least be a suitable corner, a guy that's not going to embarrass you week in and week out, and maybe could give you average corner play on the left side opposite James Bradbury. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, but I think at this point, Cockrell projects to be the starter for the New York Giants, and I'm happy that they brought him in. I didn't want to have to move Darnay Holmes to the outside or Julian Love to the outside. I think Love did a good job last year as a safety. I think both of those guys were drafted here to not be playing on the outside. They were projected to be nickel corners or a safety. And that's what I think Love will be if Cockrell does get the starting job. I've talked about it numerous times that I think the Giants plan to play in a lot of 3 safety sets. Whether or not Darnay Holmes starts day 1, that remains to be seen with the lack of preseason games, but I think he'll be in the starting lineup sooner rather than later. And I expect Cockrell to be starting for the Giants as long as he's healthy and he looks to be in shape, and I'm sure he is. The Giants brought him in today for a physical. I'm sure they were impressed, and hopefully he could win that job for the Giants and bring some, veteran leadership. He instantly becomes one of the oldest guys in the starting lineup if he does take over that starting role. I think he actually is at 30 years old or 29 years old. So I'm excited that the Giants brought him in. I think he's still got some football left, and I think it was a very necessary move to bring in a strong corner. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.